If you have been wondering why the market suddenly tanked this week, this video is for you.
It's coming! It's headed right for us! It's already here.
What's good, YouTube? Julian here, and I hope that you guys are doing great. We've got a lot to talk about. The US government shutdown drama is heating up again. Trump's new tariffs are shaking things up. And SPY, along with most stocks, have been dumping really hard.
Winter is coming.
The question is it a crisis or an opportunity? I'll be breaking down what goes on behind the scenes, what I'm watching next, and how I'm navigating all this volatility. So if you want to know what to do next week, make sure grab your drinks, pay close attention, and let's dive right in. Now, if you like videos like this, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Help me out by clicking subscribe and also commenting more so that I can produce more videos like this for you guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Without further ado, let's get back into the video. Now, I want to cover an update to the ongoing government shutdown, which is still dragging on with no clear end in sight. Congress is still stuck in stalemate, and both the Senate and the House are basically in pause mode until next week.
At this point, there are no indications that either side is letting up. Republicans are really holding firm that they will not negotiate until the government reopens.
The bigger story is that layoffs are actually starting to take place. And over 4,000 federal workers across several departments got their termination notices, including the Treasury, the Health and Human Services, and even the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC for short. Even the military is not spared. The US troops' paychecks are now in jeopardy because the funding isn't approved yet. So we can all agree that this shutdown is affecting the livelihoods of others.
Stop the shutdown now!
Next, we want to talk about the global trade war, which is officially back in the headlines. On Friday, October 10th, Trump announced a major escalation. He's planning to slap an additional 100% tariff on goods coming from China on top of the existing 30%. This means that we are looking at a total of 130% in tariffs, possibly kicking in as early as November 1st. He also mentioned about new export controls on critical software, following China's own move to tighten controls over rare earth exports, which are key for electronic manufacturing. And because of all this tension, the scheduled meeting between Trump and Xi later this month has been reportedly called off. So naturally, the markets didn't take this well. The Dow Jones dropped about 2.45%. The S&P 500 fell by 3%, and Nasdaq tumbled by 3.8%. Does this sound familiar? Well, it sounds like Liberation Day back in April all over again. So what does this mean for us in the markets? The shutdown is actually delaying key economic data, including PPI and unemployment claims report, which are all listed as tentative again. This is a big deal since the Federal Reserve relies heavily on that data for its next move. Now, with the FOMC meetings happening later this month on 29th of October, it's going to be interesting because they will be making decisions without the usual economic updates. Right now, the market is pricing in a 98.3% chance of another 25 points basis cut, and with only 1.7% chance that the interest rate remains the same. But here's something I want you guys to think about. Are you seeing this as a crisis or as an opportunity? Because how you view it determines how you will be acting in the markets. Personally, I see this as an opportunity because if you have been saying that the market has been too high and that there's never a good entry point, well, this is the pullback that you might be waiting for.
Baby, that's what I've been waiting for.
If you have been patiently loading your bullets and waiting for the right time to line your sights, now is the time for you to get ready to take your shot. But if you see this as a crisis, waiting for the market to recover before you act, chances are you will end up missing the next wave just like before. Alright, with this mindset in place, let us take a look at the markets to see where the opportunities lie. Okay, looking at S&P 500, you can see that this is a 3.15% dip that happened just on Friday. And I do actually see a chance for price to come down even lower until this area right here before pushing higher. And from the weekly perspective, this area here seems to be a clean highway there. That's why I say that there's more potential for price to come to this area before pushing up. But if price does want to push up from here, then yeah, so be it as well. Regardless of what it is, do at least try to get into some positions. If not, you're going to be missing out the boat. However, do enter in tranches so that you don't get yourself caught. If you enter all in at this area, what happens if it comes down, right? So you want to be smart even when you are investing your funds into the S&P 500. Now let's take a look at some of the Max 7, starting off with Meta. You can see that Meta has rejected this area from the last 2 weeks, and right now is actually coming back to this level right here at 700 over dollars. Right now, this is a very crucial area because if price wants to continue its movement higher, it has to reject off this area. And right, last week it ended off as a doji, which doesn't give a very good sign that Meta wants to go up. Basically, a doji is a signal of indecision. So the market is actually unsure of what it wants to do because it started off here at the beginning of the week, went up, went down, ended up at the same place right here as well. So I want to see for Meta to continue its way higher, it actually respects this area, continue with a bullish push right here. If not, there's a chance that it may break through this support and continue its way down. Next, let's look at Amazon. And as you can see right here, last Friday, Amazon actually ended up with a very bearish ice cream candle right here, showing that price rejected from the top and closing at the bottom. So this is actually not a very good sign for Amazon because it does show that the sellers are stronger and has the intention of wanting to go down. Right now, I see that there's another level of support right here. So your best bet is that Amazon may go down right here. And I want to see this level be respected for it to continue its way higher. If not, if this level breaks, Amazon will continue its movement down. Right now, let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft still happens to be playing in a fairly zigzag motion right here, playing in between this level of support and resistance, which is not a bad thing considering how others have been very, very bearish. So right here, if Microsoft wants to go down, we want to see it break through this support, but if it wants to go up, I want to see it break through this level of resistance. Now Tesla, another fan favorite. You can see is Tesla struggled to break past this high right here, instantly rejected last week, and then tried one more time, but failed to do so as well, closing below this support. I do foresee that Tesla may head down at least until this level. All right, and we want to see what's happening then. If Tesla is able to respect it, it may just bounce between this level of support and resistance. But if it doesn't, maybe it will actually head down if this support here breaks. Next, let's look at Nvidia. And as you can see on Thursday, Nvidia actually hit my TP area. If you recall from the previous video, I want to see Nvidia pushing higher towards this resistance. And then we will see if Nvidia is able to break past this resistance, heading to my target take profit of 193. And there you go, Nvidia hit this area and immediately push down. So again, guys, if you guys have followed whatever that I just said, you will know that this was an area that I was actually looking out for. Right now, it's coming back to this support right here, and I want to see this area hold. If this area is able to hold, Nvidia has a chance to continue moving back upwards. But if it doesn't, I can foresee it going back down to this level of support right here. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Google, and if you can see right here on the weekly chart, this seems like a clean highway for Google. And if it does break through this level of support right here, why do I say that this is a support? If you can see, this happens to be a base. However, looking at it from the weekly perspective, it may not be as strong, right? So what I'm foreseeing is that I want to see if this area is able to hold. If not, Google has a very high chance of coming back down all the way to this level right here. So do take note of that if you're holding Google. Last but not least, from the Max 7, I'm actually looking at Apple right now. You can see Apple is playing at this level of, you can see Apple is right now at this level of support. And this is going to be crucial because if Apple is able to bounce back up from this support, it will head over here, which is back to its all-time high. If it doesn't do that, then I would say that Apple is going to head down to this level of support right here. Next is a stock from one of our subscribers, Demio Magostin, who's actually asking me to look at this stock called Zebra. Now, before I look at Zebra, again, for those of you who want me to analyze any of the stocks or any asset classes like crypto, whatsoever, do let me know by typing it in the comments, because your comment might be chosen for me to do an analysis on. So with that, let's head over to the charts. So this right here is Zebra, and this is the first time I'm looking at this company, so I don't know the background of this company, so I'm just going to give it based off my technical analysis. Right here, we can actually see that this is a support, and this has already shown that the support is broken. So what I'm expecting is for price to maybe retest this level of support that now becomes a resistance to head downwards to the next support. And the next support would be somewhere around this area right here. And the next one from Albert Ho, who wants me to go through Ethereum. Let's have a look at that. So based on what I see here on Ethereum, this is the all-time high. Currently at this level, it did not manage to pass, hence why it is actually going down to the support right here. It actually played around in this support before breaking through the support this week. So if you actually have a look, this area is right now an area that may be a possibility for you to actually enter in some buys, because this is actually an SRR, new R on the top here. This actually is a SRR buy. So if you're looking to get some longs, this area is one that you actually want to pay attention to. Now, this is not a fresh area because price has already came in, touched, and gone up. So this is the second time that it's actually entering. So I would say that if you do want to enter, yes, there is a chance. However, if this area breaks, you can be sure that Ethereum is going to go down even lower. So if it does go down, where will be the next area that I'm looking at? I would say this area right here is the next support that it should go down to. So do take note of that. If this area breaks, this would be the next area that I'm looking to buy at. And here's also another one from Albert who's requesting VIX. Let's take a look. Interestingly enough, the shutdown did not cause any spikes to the VIX. However, the tariff announcements actually did. So right here, you can see last Friday, it actually spiked all the way until 22, which is actually pretty good if you think about it, because this indicates that when there's volatility in the market, the options premium will be actually very high. So for those of you who trades options, this will actually be a very good time for you to look at getting some cash flow in through options. Last but not least, let's take a look at what's happening to gold for this week. So looking at it from the daily perspective, I still see that gold is creating higher highs and higher lows, indicating that this is still bullish from the daily time frame. Now, if you look at it from the H4 perspective, you will notice that previously gold was actually creating higher highs and higher lows. But what happened? There was actually a big spike right down here. This was actually on Thursday. And this actually broke this support right here, indicating that there was actually a change of market structure. And this actually tells me that there is a huge possibility that gold wants to go down, right? After that, you can actually see that gold started creating higher highs and higher lows, trying to inch its way back up right here. Now, this is going to be very crucial because at this area right here, I would say that this is the tipping point to decide whether gold wants to continue its movement higher up or come down. And looking at the current volatility because of the tariffs and whatnot, there is a huge chance that this area here may break. However, if this area gets respected, we can actually see gold coming down. But to be honest, I'm leaning a little bit more towards it breaking higher just because of what's happening in the current economic status with Trump and whatnot. But then again, this is my own personal opinion. So with that said, this wraps up our market upload for this week. Remember to drop a comment down below and let me know which ticker symbol you would like me to analyze in the next video. It can be any asset class. I'll pick a few and break them down for you guys. And if you found this to be helpful, help me out, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're wondering, with all this volatility, Julian, how do you still manage to find solid setups? Go check out my previous video where I shared a strategy right around here. And this is the strategy that has been making me $1,000 in a day. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye bye.